Charles Bronson was born Charles Dennis Buczynski on November 3, 1921, in Ehrenfeld, Pennsylvania, into a working-class Lithuanian-American family where survival came before dreams. He was the 11th of 15 children, raised in a household shaped by poverty, discipline, and relentless labor. When his father died while Charles was still a boy, the family's financial struggle intensified. By his teenage years, Bronson was already working in coal mines, hauling heavy loads for minimal pay, breathing dust and learning endurance the hard way. Those years carved something permanent into him. He spoke little, trusted actions over words, and developed a deep respect for effort earned rather than inherited. Long before cameras found his face, Bronson learned how to endure pain quietly. That early hardship would later define both his screen presence and his personal code, shaping him into a man who valued humility, grit, and authenticity above all else. War, survival, and a new direction. Bronson's worldview hardened further during World War II, when he served as an aerial gunner in the U.S. Army Air Forces. He flew combat missions in the Pacific, experiencing danger that left lasting emotional marks and earned him a Purple Heart. War didn't make him louder or more dramatic. It made him quieter. When he returned home, he carried with him a deep sense of perspective and restraint. Using the GI Bill, he studied art, searching for meaning and structure and discipline rather than attention. Acting came later, not as a dream, but as an opportunity. Hollywood was not kind at first. His rugged face and silent intensity placed him in minor roles, often as heavies or background figures. He changed his surname during a politically tense era, understanding that survival sometimes required adaptation. Still, he remained the same man underneath, grounded, observant, and uninterested in Hollywood illusions. Rising slowly, speaking softly. Throughout the 1950s and early 1960s, Bronson steadily built his reputation without shortcuts. He appeared in films like House of Wax, Apache, and The Magnificent Seven, bringing depth to characters who said little but felt real. He didn't perform for approval, he performed with restraint. Audiences sensed that authenticity immediately. His breakout roles in The Great Escape and later Once Upon a Time in the West revealed a leading man who didn't need speeches to command attention. Bronson's power came from stillness. International audiences, especially in Europe, embraced him long before America fully did. He represented something rare, a working-class hero, shaped by experience rather than polish. By the time Hollywood caught up, Bronson had already defined himself. He wasn't chasing stardom. He was simply being himself in front of the camera, and that honesty became his greatest asset. Fame without comfort, the 1970s transformed Bronson into a box office force. Films like Death Wish made him synonymous with stoic justice and moral resolve. Though the stories themselves sparked intense debate, Bronson never chased controversy. He simply accepted roles that reflected the world as he understood it, harsh, complicated, and imperfect. Critics often misunderstood him, mistaking restraint for simplicity. Fans, however, connected deeply with his quiet strength. Despite commercial success, Bronson avoided Hollywood excess. He didn't attend many parties, avoided interviews, and kept his private life guarded. Fame never softened him, nor did it inflate his ego. Those close to him described a gentle, reserved man who valued loyalty above all else. His marriage to Jill Ireland became the emotional anchor of his life, grounding him in family and purpose. Even as success peaked, Bronson remained emotionally cautious, shaped by a lifetime of earned discipline. A personal code and private loyalty behind the tough exterior was a man deeply devoted to those he loved. Bronson's relationship with Jill Ireland was central to his life, both professionally and emotionally. They worked together often, building trust on and off screen. When Ireland became ill later in life, Bronson withdrew even further from public view, dedicating himself to her care. He wasn't expressive with words, but his actions spoke volumes. Loyalty for Bronson wasn't performative, it was lived. After her passing, he never fully recovered emotionally. Friends noticed the silence deepen. Yet even in grief, Bronson remained private. He didn't turn pain into spectacle. He carried it inward. That same internal code governed how he judged others, including fellow actors. Respect mattered deeply to him, and when he felt it was lacking, the wound stayed. One such wound would quietly define a rare and enduring resentment, the one relationship that turned cold. Charles Bronson was not a man known for grudges. He avoided conflict, disliked gossip, and rarely spoke harshly about others. Yet there was one notable exception: his animosity toward Henry Fonda. Those who knew Bronson well were often surprised by the intensity of his feelings. It wasn't loud or public, but it was unmistakable. Their relationship never erupted into scandal or confrontation, yet the tension lingered. For Bronson, this wasn't professional rivalry or jealousy. It was something deeper, a sense of being dismissed, a feeling that values were not shared. Their time together on Once Upon a Time in the West revealed not just two characters on opposite sides of a story, but two men shaped by entirely different lives. Bronson came from hardship, Fonda came from legacy. That contrast created a silent but lasting divide. A clash of backgrounds and beliefs. On set, Bronson reportedly sensed an attitude from Fonda that felt distant and condescending. Whether intentional or not, it struck Bronson deeply. He believed respect was earned through experience and humility, not reputation. Fonda represented a Hollywood lineage built on privilege, training, and critical praise. Bronson represented survival. He didn't believe acting made someone superior. He believed work spoke for itself. Their philosophical differences extended beyond film. Bronson avoided public commentary and moral posturing, preferring private conviction. Fonda, known for his outspoken views, embodied a different approach. For Bronson, authenticity mattered more than rhetoric. The tension never became public drama, but it hardened quietly. Friends later recalled Bronson's unusually blunt reactions when Fonda's name surfaced. For a man who rarely expressed dislike, the consistency of his reaction revealed how deeply the divide had settled. Where is known? Silence that spoke volumes. What makes Bronson's resentment so striking is how restrained it remained. There were no interviews, no attacks, no attempts to shape public opinion. He simply carried it. In an industry fueled by performance and image, Bronson refused to perform even his grudges. That restraint made the emotion more powerful. When asked directly, his responses were brief and dismissive, signaling finality rather than drama. It wasn't hatred born of competition, it was disappointment rooted in values. Bronson believed humility mattered. He believed success should not separate people from decency. Whether fair or not, he never revised that judgment. Even decades later, the feeling remained unchanged. In a career spanning hardship, war, fame, and loss, this quiet resentment stood out because it was so rare. It revealed that beneath Bronson's stoic exterior lived deeply held principles that could not be compromised. Decline, illness, and withdrawal. In his later years, Bronson retreated completely from public life. Health challenges gradually overtook him, including neurological and respiratory struggles that limited his strength and independence. He made his final film appearance in the late 1990s, then disappeared from Hollywood entirely. There were no farewell tours, no public reflections, no attempts to reframe his legacy. That silence was intentional. Bronson never wanted attention for decline. He preferred dignity. Those close to him described a man still gentle, still reserved, still deeply private. His final years were marked by quiet routines rather than headlines. When he passed away on August 30th, 2003, the reaction was subdued but profound. Fans mourned not just an actor, but a symbol of authenticity in an industry that often rewards performance over truth. A legacy defined by integrity. Charles Bronson's legacy endures not because he spoke loudly, but because he lived consistently. His resentment toward Henry Fonda was not about ego, fame, or rivalry. It was about values forged through hardship. Bronson believed character mattered more than reputation, humility more than applause. That belief guided every part of his life, from his work ethic to his personal relationships. Even his rare expressions of dislike revealed how deeply he cared about authenticity. In a world of image, he chose substance. In a business built on illusion, he remained real. That is why his characters still resonate and why his story continues to fascinate. Charles Bronson did not seek admiration. He earned respect. And in the end, that quiet integrity became his most powerful and enduring role.